Hello everyone, my name is Sierra. I am your host for the next couple runs. Welcome back after that brief intermission. We are sorry about the technical issues, but everything should be good now. Hoping I didn't jinx it. A little bit about the marathon. Indiethon is a tri-annual charity event showcasing all types of indie games. We're bringing you speedruns of games you may not have heard of before to help Child's Play support their network of hospitals and domestic violence shelters as a place where children can feel safe, play games, and get better. Coming up next, we have FEZ being run by T-Heart 3D. It'll be an exciting run, so let's get this started.
Alright, are we live? Looks like we're live. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to start the introduction?
Alright, welcome T-Heart 3D and Joker.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, so welcome everybody. I'm T-Hearst 3D, T-Hearst 3rd. Wow, I even got my own name wrong.
Wow, come on.
That happens. I have commentating with me, I have Joker TYF.
What's up, guys? Great to be here.
And Sierra as my host, thank you so much. We're just going to go ahead and get started. This is FEZ. It's a really interesting puzzle platforming game. And yeah, I'll get to it right as we get started. So time starts right when I click on the speedrun mode button. So are we ready for time? All right. I'm just going to get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off.
We are going. So, this is a really interesting game in which it looks like it's a two-dimensional platforming game, right? With pixel art and sprites, so like you can see right here. But actually, this game is fully three-dimensional. And the core game mechanic is, in just a minute or so, we are going to get the titular FEZ. And with that FEZ, we can rotate our perspective to view the three-dimensional level from 4 different 2D perspectives. And so that will allow us to see platforms that we can't see and solve puzzles and such. And that's sort of the main game mechanic.
The goal of this run specifically is to collect 32 of what's called cubes. So there are 2 types. The golden cubes are found strewn about the levels, and you collect them through platforming. And you can also collect 8 cube bits, and 8 of those will make 1 golden cube. And then there's also anti-cubes, which you usually get by solving puzzles and entering a secret code at the end. And so we need to collect 32 of those to beat this category. And yeah.
Yeah. So this game, first of all, this game is so good. If you haven't played this game, go play it. It's really fun. And if you're, worried about getting spoiled, I am going to be spoiling as few things as possible in this run. A lot of the puzzles, you can sort of beat them by entering in a secret code on your controller, on your keyboard, or whatever. And so I already know what those codes are because I'm doing a speedrun. But so if you're going to play this game casually, you still, I'm not going to be spoiling most of these puzzles for you. So this game is so good. Go play it.
What's that in the sky?
This is a dramatic moment because we're about to get the FEZ. Oh my goodness.
And once Gomez, which is the main character, once he picks this up, he'll be able to rotate and progress throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, this game also has some really interesting lore, which we're basically just going to be skipping all of that in this run. But definitely you're going to want to spend some time reading the walls and all that stuff. So right here, this thing is the Hexahedron, and it explodes. And it explodes into a bunch of cubes. And so, as Joker TYF mentioned, we have to pick up all the cubes and reassemble.
Yo, what's happening to your computer?
Oh, no. More technical difficulties. Oh no, my game is crashing. No, just kidding. That's a fake crash. But with some mashing through these menus, we can get into the real game.
So right off the bat, we're going to enter a secret code during this animation, so we save some time so we don't have to enter it while we can move around.
Yep. And we get the first anti-cube of the game. Alright, so here now we can see that the world was actually 3D this whole time. What? And
Whoa.
We see Dot traveling down. So Dot is our companion, and on your casual playthrough, she'll tell you, how things work, what lore is going on, but we don't care, so we're just going to mash through all of her text as fast as possible, and get on with the game. And right off the bat, we're going to do a trick. So that door right there, that was down there, requires a cube to open. So we're just actually going to fall down and die, and because we got a cube, we've opened up the door. And now we don't have to sit through that animation later, so that saves a little bit of time.
Yeah, doors don't actually care whether or not you're alive or dead when you open them for the first time.
Mm-hmm. So for a lot of this run, you're basically just going to see me go into a room or whatever, spam a bunch of buttons really quick, and a cube is going to appear. And yeah, that's what just happened there.
So those yellow small cubes, those are the cube bits, and you can see that little wireframe. If you fill up that with 8 of them, then you'll get a golden cube.
So this game has a lot of really interesting movement tech about abusing perspective. And sort of rotating the level in a way that you might not think to do that will help you get through the levels faster. We do a lot of stuff in this speedrun, and we're going to have some really good examples to show you later on. So here I'm collecting 8 bits into a cube, and that was my first golden cube.
Now we're going to go through this door, and we'll be leaving the village. So each of these doors requires a certain number of cubes to open, but we don't have enough to open any of them yet, so we're just going to go into this door up here.
And yeah, so this game has 5 main hubs, and this is the first one. So you can see that big cube at the top. This is a hub, so it branches out into a bunch of smaller areas, and those smaller areas will have warps that can warp us back to these hubs. So that's what you're going to see throughout this game. And we're going to go into our first section, Bell Tower, and I'm going to do a lot of what's a very fancy trick called perspective teleportation, which is really hard to explain, but we're going to try.
I'm going to give it my best shot anyway, though. So basically, if you are behind the level, as in you can see Gomez's silhouette, the game, if you jump, the game will try to push you back as far as possible. So if you are in between 2 walls and you rotate so that you're behind one of them and you jump, you'll get teleported across the other one. I know it's really hard to imagine that in your mind, but it makes you go through the level a lot faster.
Yeah. So I climbed that tower in a way you probably would not have expected the tower to be climbed, but if you pause through it and you look at all of the motions, you can see sort of what each action was supposed to do. That tower took me some time to learn when I was learning this run, but
this next room has a bunch of examples of perspective teleports. You'll notice that Gomez will basically teleport from one side of the screen to the other, like just that.
Yeah. And I'm doing a strat that's actually very slightly slower, but it makes the perspective teleport very, very visible. So when I leave this room, you're going to get to see another one. So those 2 rotations that I just did, they looked like they might have been useless. I just rotated and then rotated right back. But it actually caused one of these crates to sort of change where it was for some reason, and we can use that to put together this cube faster. And yeah, another perspective teleportation coming up. Boom.
A whole bunch of them, actually.
Yeah, a lot of them.
There we go.
Didn't jump.
And coming up is a good example of just like exploiting the rotation mechanic to move fast. You'll see once we climb this in a bit. So normally if you were to climb those vines and walk all the way to the left to get into that door, it would take a while. But instead, if you just rotate once and rotate back again, you've basically traversed that entire distance in no time at all.
Yeah.
And so the run is full of like movement tricks like that, just to save a few, seconds here and there.
Yeah, just small little optimizations that if you do all of them, they all add up. Oh no, didn't want to do that. Yeah, and this next room took me a while to learn. It has a lot of perspective teleportation, so just take a look at this.
Each one of those like little alcoves in the wall is a place where you can do a perspective teleport. And the smaller it is, the harder it is to pull off. So coming up, we're going to get our first actual whole golden cube of the run, if I'm not mistaken.
And do a glitch called a fall cancel. So I'm going to take intentional fall damage, but I'm going to just press up to go into the door. And it turns out that doors don't care if you're alive when you open them. If you're dead, you can just open up a door anyway. It doesn't matter. And it skips the death animation.
So this is an area that's called Waterfall. I wonder if you can guess why it's called that. Yep. We're going to enter 2 secret codes, one after another. And then we're going to lower this water so that we can access other doors in the area later.
So I'm getting a lot of black holes right now, which are basically the only RNG mechanic, if you want to explain that.
Yeah, so black holes have a chance to spawn the second time and every subsequent time you enter a room. And if you touch them, you die, like you would suspect. Most of the time, they don't really change the route you need to take to go through the room, but sometimes they do lose you a bit of time.
It makes that chunk a little tricky. Jumping all the way through those, but I did it without dying.
Here's a trick where we spawn an anti-cube in the same place as a golden cube, and then by picking them up in a precise way, we can actually collect both of them with only one animation, which saves that animation.
Yeah. And coming up right now, we have a pretty tricky section. In this room, there's a quite precise platforming section to do a trick called Zero Cycle. So this room is totally on cycles, and first of all, it's got some awesome music, some of my favorite in the game.
Cat jams in chat.
Yeah, get the cat jams in chat. But, so that means all the platforms are on cycles, and that means we want to get the fastest possible cycle. And so coming up in just a bit here, I have to do a pretty precise trick, so let's do that right now. Dang, so I accidentally did a ledge get-up animation, which is something I wanted to avoid. I came pretty close though, but if I did, I would be, if I didn't, I would be on that platform right there. So if you can get it, it's pretty tricky, but it saves about 12 seconds, so.
A lot of the game is based on cycles, like, even outside of this room, like, there are platforms that oscillate up and down, but because the cycles here are just so long, the punishment for missing one is pretty severe.
Yeah. But that's probably one of the hardest tricks right in the game right there, was that zero cycle. Here we go, we'll be grabbing a cube and taking a warp back to the hub. The next area we're going to is Arch, and it starts off with actually a pretty tricky jump that I'm not super consistent at, but I'm going to give it a shot. I've been...
This is in the game where there are some invisible platforms, and you can figure out where they are by like exploring the game yourself. But since we already know where they are, we don't need to do that.
But for no spoilers, figure them out yourself. How to, you can get on those, you can find those platforms. In this next room, I'm going to be doing a lot of what are called corner kicks and reverse corner jumps. I've done them throughout the run, and they save some time, but here's a very visible spot where I do a lot of them, if you want to explain them.
Yeah, so normally if you're grabbing onto a ledge, you can climb up like Gomez just did there, but that animation is pretty slow. So instead you can jump away from the ledge, which is an intended mechanic, but the game actually only checks which direction you're going a few frames after you jump. So if you jump and then immediately press back towards the ledge, you'll essentially jump over it and you'll save a lot of time.
Yeah, like
right there. Yeah. And so, if you don't press a direction, you'll go straight up, which is also helpful to save some time.
And that's one of the hardest, I'd say, tech that you need to practice throughout the game. But once you get good at it, oops, I split a little early. Once you get good at it, it's quite fun, and it saves a bit of time because you just get to skip seeing this little get up animation. I just did it right there. It skips needing to see that every single time, so you do those a lot throughout the run.
So this is Tree. Besides Sync, I think this has some of the best music in the game. And coming up, we have another perspective teleport.
I messed up that code, but...
Right there. So we use that alcove right above the door, which is actually really tight, but we got it first try.
Yeah. So upcoming is a pretty tricky jump. Oh. You want to jump on just the left of that mushroom, so that way you can get up there without needing to go around the tree. And then I actually do another very similar trick right about here, where I sort of do a jump to avoid needing to walk around the tree the normal way.
Some more invisible platforms here. If you look at the right side of the screen, you can see we've already collected 17 out of the 32 cubes, so we're about halfway done with the speedrun.
So we just picked up a map. And you might be thinking, well, why do I need to pick up a map? Because that just gives information about, stuff that speedrunners already know. Well, this map has a code on it, and you actually need that map to enter the code. So that's why I grabbed that one, so later in I can enter a secret code. There's some cool stuff there.
Yeah, this room took me about, I'd say, an hour the first time I played through it, but we're going to solve this puzzle in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, this game has some really cool puzzles, as I've already said. But in a speedrun, we already knew all the answers, so we just absolutely blaze through them.
And boom. And then, yeah. Coming up in this room is another instance where we use an animation to enter a secret code. We'll collect this bit, and when we're in the animation for collecting the cube, we'll enter a secret code, and that'll spawn the anti-cube over there. So, if at all possible, we always want to enter codes while other animations are playing to save time.
And for some reason, that one code is just easier to enter in on the keyboard, so that's why you heard because I enter in that code on the keyboard.
This is the second hub world second and final hub world that we're actually going to enter.
So we only visit 2 of the 5 5 hub worlds in this game, so if you like this game, go play the rest of it because there's a lot that we don't show. So up here, there's a glitch. In this room, there's a cube that uses the same code as another cube earlier in the run. And so they're actually intended to be the same cube, and if you get it in one place, you're not supposed to get it in the other. But by leaving and re-entering the room, it lets you get the cube the second time. So I don't exactly know how that works, but that's why I just exited and re-entered the room right there.
And here we're going to make the long climb up to the observatory. Normally when you play this game casually, you want to use these timer... I don't know what you call these timing
cranks?
things. Yeah.
I call it
You want to
cranks.
extend them as far as possible before, you start climbing. But, of course, since we're speedrunners and we're going fast, we don't actually need all of that time. Another corner jump right there, or reverse corner jump, actually.
Jump.
I always get it confused, because reverse corner jumps are the ones where you're going forward.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
And here, actually, we're going to enter a code while we're in the air, and it just so happens to have the right number of rotations, so that we can get to this place faster.
That's one of those super satisfying things that once you learn it, you can just blaze through that room and, like, you enter the code in the air. It's super fun.
So here you might think we need to use that timing lever again, but it turns out you can just climb these vines normally.
Yeah, and I figured that out in my casual playthrough. You can just climb that up without even bothering to line everything up. Oh man, I've been struggling with this cube recently. Finally.
Fourth time's the charm.
Fourth time's the charm, that happens sometimes. And we'll take this warp. So we are getting pretty close to the end of the game here. We only really have one more section left, which is the lighthouse, before we have the sort of final area. So we're getting pretty close to the end.
Would now be a good time for some donations?
Now's a great time, actually.
Alright, so we have a couple donations to read. T-Heart3D donating $50 saying, "Go Terry!" Anonymous donor donating $50 saying, "This is so entertaining." Kim and Halhart3D donating $25 saying, "Love the commentator, helping the run be interesting. Hi, Andrew." Another anonymous donor with $44.69. Nice.
Wow.
And Benasalem donating $50 saying, "Not a gamer but looks pretty cool."
Thank you
Wow,
all so
that's a
much
lot
for
of
the
donations.
donations. Wow,
Yeah.
thank you so much. That's crazy.
So
We are
coming
getting
up,
closer. Oh, sorry.
Coming up is one of my favorite examples of just exploiting the mechanics for good movement. So we're going to collect this bit right here, rotate back on the tree, jump on the dock, and we've already basically crossed the entire level in an instant. And we're going to do that trick again in reverse.
So you can see, as I unlock this door, I traveled the entire distance from the dock to where I was right now, just instantaneously. Because when you rotate, you basically squish the entire level into a single flat plane, and just by grabbing something or whatever, you can set your depth within that plane instantaneously. And that room right there is probably my favorite instance of it in the game.
Now let's see if we can get this cycle.
Oh, damn.
Oh, so close.
So getting up there is possible. I'm not very good at it, but you can save yourself from needing to wait for those ladders. And sometimes I feel like the game just cheats you. Like, it totally looked like I made it, but, that's alright. We're moving on.
This is a room where the intended solution to go up to the top is like very convoluted and hard, but we're just going to use the perspective teleport and just skip the entire puzzle.
Yeah, similar thing here. We're supposed to do a little rotate to have these ladders like line up, but by doing perspective, we can just avoid needing to do that at all.
And this is the last invisible platform section of the game, and we're going to pick up our 30th anti-cube. And after this, we only have one more anti-cube and one qubit to collect, and then we're done with all the collection.
Yeah, we are almost done here.
So now we have enough cubes to enter those doors that we couldn't earlier.
Also, that was a gold lighthouse, by the way.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so this game has some really interesting lore, and a few of these areas, like this one, are sort of ones where you can sort of try to figure out what happened in this game. And so in your casual playthrough, you'll want to go into all these rooms and see what's in them, but we don't care right here. We're just going to barge right through, go to the one room with the cube, and get that. That's all we really care about here.
I love this track too.
And
shout out Disaster Piece.
Yeah, this game's whole soundtrack is so good, by the way.
Now, the astute among you might look at this world and think, that looks awfully similar to the other hub world that we were in earlier. And you're actually correct. This it is the same for a very purposeful reason, but I'm not going to explain why. I'll let you figure that out for yourself when you play through this casually. This is like the one part of the lore in this game that I actually understand.
So there we go. That qubit completed our last cube. We now have 32 cubes. So we can go into this door right here.
Whoa, 32 cubes?
Whoa. And yeah, we have a little bit of downtime. So if there are any more donations, this is a good time. But I would be surprised if there are that many more. You guys gave so many, so thank you so much. Yeah, we can just mess around in this room while the animation plays. Normally, doing rotations stops the time. So throughout the run, you want to do as few rotations as possible. Like, you don't want to just do extra rotations for no reason. But there, it actually doesn't matter. Now we can enter the final room in the game. This is the moon. And it is different from all the rest of the games all the rest of the rooms in that it has low gravity. And first of all, it dramatically pans down because it's really cool. But yeah,
low gravity on the moon? I can't believe it.
It's kind of crazy. But yeah, with the low gravity, this room is like practicing. This room is like different than all the rest of the rooms in the game, and everything else is also slowed down. All of the animations of grabbing a ledge and rotating, especially rotating, is super slow. And so you basically want to do. And none of that. You just want to run and jump and get to the end. And if you can make it all the way to the end, basically without any mistakes, you can do what's called turnless. Because at the top there's a thing that rotates and you need to go into that thing. So if you're fast, you can do it just when it's about to move away from you. So I'm going to do my best here. I wanted to grab a corner there, but that's okay. You can see how slow these animations are.
Just wait for the rotation at the top. Alright. Yeah, RIP turnless.
Didn't
Doesn't
get
look like we get
turnless
it.
this time because I didn't grab the corner in that one spot, but you can see how slow those turns are, so you really want to get there in time. But that's okay. That's FEZ. So time doesn't end yet. There's about a minute-ish of cutscene where we sort of get to watch the Hexahedron get rebuilt, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, thank you so much to Indiethon for allowing me to participate in the inaugural Indiethon event. This is, it's been a really cool experience. And that's not it. There was a donation incentive that, thanks to you guys who donated, it was reached. And so right after this, you're going to get to see me do another run called 0%, which I use a glitch to just skip straight to the end of the game.
Terry, what's happening with your computer?
Oh no, my computer crashed again. Just kidding. But you mash through this, and time will end in about 15-ish seconds. So it's right when I walk through the door. So I'll be pointing it out. It's right about now, and that's time.
28:17. That's not bad at all.
28:17. I will say I'm actually very happy with that marathon time. Just like 2 weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago, that actually would have been a new PB for me. So I'm quite happy with this run. 28:17 for a marathon run. And what was the real time?
The real time was 28. Oh, it hasn't quite stopped yet.
Oh yeah, it's still going.
28,
That's okay.
20 something, I believe I saw.
Yeah, it's usually about 6 or 7 seconds more. So yeah, that's awesome. But we're not done. As I said, there's one more donation. There's a donation incentive for me to do another run, and I have prepared a save file ahead of time. And we're gonna use a glitch called a wrong warp to basically just skip straight to the end of the game. And so I'm just gonna load up this save file here. So this I'm right at the end of the game, right where there's this Stargate. And what I'm gonna do is, if I just walk through the door and then pause and switch to a new file and start up the game, it starts a fresh new game, except you appear on the other side of the door that you were walking through. So like it kind of remembers that you were walking through a door and puts you on the other side, which is kind of funny. So I'm just going to walk through the door and pause. And now I can
surely
switch.
there's no state saved between game files, huh?
Sorry, my game just crashed.
It actually crashed?
Yeah, the game actually just crashed. But that's okay. I can I know why it crashed.
It's always funny when it actually crashes, because we always make a joke about, when it fake crashes.
Yeah, so give me 1 second. The game is crashing because it had a bug where one of the save files causes it doesn't have an image, and so when it tries to show it on the screen it crashes. But if I just manually delete the file, it should be good. Apologies for that. That did not happen in any of our practice runs. You love when that happens. So there we go. Now we have a release log, and we're good. So I'm just gonna walk through this door and switch over to a new save file. So walk through, pause, and we're going to switch to an empty slot. So time is going to start right when I say start new game. So I'll do that on 3. Let's do if we're ready for that. So I'll get started with a 0% run on 3. 3, 2, 1, go. And here we go. We're starting a new game, right? I should wake up in Gomez's room, right? Like I should, right?
You would think.
What? What's going on? That's not what's happening. I'm on the moon. So I just skipped
This is actually this is a really glitched state too, because it turns out you actually have control of Gomez right now, and you're able to rotate even without getting the FEZ.
Yeah. So I'm allowed to move right now, and since the game's physics are designed to only make sense when the camera is pointed exactly at a 90-degree angle, the physics are super buggy. But I'm gonna try to get as much of a head start as I can. Right, so here you can see me moving, even though the camera is spinning, which is pretty tricky. Oh no, yeah, that happens sometimes. But I'm gonna try to get as much of a head start as I can. So you can see it looked like I just had got teleported there, which doesn't look right. But that's what happens when the physics are only designed for 90-degree angles, and the camera is not viewing the game with a 90-degree angle. But that was actually a pretty good head start that I just got there.
Yeah.
It's really hard to progress through the game when the camera keeps spinning like that. So, let's see, can I do it? I think I can do it with only one turn. And right there, bam, that actually ties world record. So,
Wow.
yeah, there's not too many people who have run this, but if you can get that, that ties the world record. If I did it on 1.07, which is an outdated version. So yeah, that's basically 0%, and once again, we need to wait for a few cutscenes. But yeah, that's a really cool like trick, I think, you know, just being able to skip right to the end. I mean, how many games can you do that? And you can see this cube is supposed to be getting filled up right now, but there are no cubes that we collected. And Gomez isn't even wearing a fez. Like, that's the level of attention to detail we're talking here.
Yeah.
Even in this glitchy state, Gomez doesn't have a fez.
I don't know if we actually mentioned this, but there are a total of 64 cubes. There are 32 cubes and 32 anti-cubes that you can collect in this game. We only collected half of them, and we went to even less than half of the areas. Mm-hmm. So you should definitely buy this game and play it, and try and do a full completion. It's such a good game.
All right, so time is going to end in about 15 seconds. Once again, it's right when I walk through the final door. And time.
Yeah.
So thank you so much to Indiethon for hosting this. I'm so happy to be part of this. Thank you to everyone who donated. That was an insane list of people. Like, that's crazy. Thank you to Joker TYF who commented this run.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Yeah, thank you to everyone who's watched. Thank you to everyone who's donated. I still can't believe we're more than 3 times our original goal of $500, which is just so good. I'm so proud of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you. Shout out to the FEZ speedrunning Discord, including the legend Wilco314. I saw him in the chat. He's the current world record holder for any percent. Yeah, I know we're a little behind schedule, so I will pass on to the next game. So thank you all so much for watching.